Yo, what's up everybody? Welcome back to the ABoutWellbeing podcast, episode 51, and I'm here today with Benji Wilson. He's one of my closest friends. He is an amazing client of mine. I'll just give you a little introduction on him real quick. He's been on Survivor. He is an e-com wizard. I like to say, I'm not sure all the stuff that he does, but he does all this stuff with e-com. He does all these course creation stuff. He's been like a bestseller on Amazon, which is like, oh, it's very easy to do. I've been a bestseller on Amazon like multiple times. Like, what the hell, dude? He made his first $1 million at the age of, what age were you? 26. That's decent. Which is like, I think, extremely impressive. And I've been blessed to be coaching him for the past 7 to 8 months, something around the time of that.
6 months.
6 months. And it's been an absolute blessing. So Benji, like, I'd love to just get him on to talk about those kind of things and like his journey with all of that, because it's super impressive. And I think that if you guys listen to some of the things that Benji has been done and the stuff that we've done in our coaching, you may be able to take that away and use that for yourself and optimize yourself and get more energy doing that. So yeah, Benji, what's up, man?
Hello, bro. How are you?
Yeah, good. So I just want to say, like, how did you end up like reaching out to me? Like, why were you like, oh, I'm gonna work with Corey?
So first things first.
Okay.
Big Corey fan.
Yeah, nice.
The biggest.
Nice, thanks, man.
Second thing, these cameras are shaky if you're writing on the table.
Yeah, I won't write any stuff down anymore. Yeah.
I was very fortunate enough to get put in touch with the one and only Corey Boutwell.
Thanks,
through the one and only Robbie Skivicki.
Yeah. Yeah, you met Robbie on Survivor, yeah?
I met Robbie on Survivor.
Yep.
Fell in love. Slept together for 30 or so nights.
Yeah, yep.
And obviously, you know Robbie, he's a stud. Anyone who knows Robbie who's listening, absolute specimen.
Yep.
And Robbie and I chatted about once a week. Yep. And he was like, dude, I've been working with this absolute god of a human who's just like been chiseling my body. I've been more switched on than ever before. He's kept saying the word barramundi, and I was just like, oh, it sounds pretty good. And this, for me at this point, it was during COVID. Yep. And you know, everyone's just locked inside, feeling terrible, and I'm like, I would like to know this guy. So I think I was just like, Robbie put me in touch. And he put me in touch, and then we hit it off, and now we've been sleeping together for 30 days.
That's what we do in the coaching. We just cuddle now. That's been cool, man. So like, and it's been super enjoyable for me. So like, what are some of the things that we've been doing? Because obviously you got put in touch for the coaching. Like, why were you like, oh, I actually want to do some of the things that Corey like specializes in? Like, why do you actually wanted to do those things?
Yeah, it's a great question. Yeah. Why do I want to do the things that Corey specializes in? I don't know. Honestly, I think I'm still working through the answers to that, why I want to do it. Yeah. I think that's sort of some of my discovery with you at the same time. Just like, I'm still trying to understand what that pull is towards that, and why I don't just sit on a beach and lie around all day. But obviously there's something driving to reach potential, and not to get lazy or complacent, which I like. I'm starting, thanks to you, to sort of like really embrace, and I feel like it makes me more fulfilled. And in terms of why it's there or how it's there, I'm not sure.
Yeah, fair cool. So one of the things that we I guess started working on with Benji was we just started like really going through like you as a person. We just like, I learnt a lot about you. We sort of understand why you do things, how like international you've been, and how you've been like locked down in COVID, especially because he lives in Melbourne. And if people don't know, like Benji used to live quite internationally. You were just all over the place. Just like flying around. And one of the things that like I've taken from is like, okay, you were just like, I want to get extremely disciplined. Yep. I have these business goals, and I look up to Tony Robbins, like massive, and I want to be like heaps like him. So I want to start doing all of these things that he does. Yep. And I want to learn everything about health and fitness, and I sort of explain my hierarchy. And if you guys haven't listened, the hierarchy is on episode number 2 of the ABoutWellbeing podcast. I like actually explain the hierarchy in detail. I remember our first conversations, I explained that hierarchy with you, and you were like, oh my God, that makes so much sense. Well, yes, let's do it. Yeah. So, and on the bottom of the hierarchy is like the physiological health needs. So then we started doing all of the physiological health needs before getting into all of the, mindset, deep philosophy, like type things. What was that sort of first couple months like, diving into those things?
First couple of months was.
So you can turn the mic just down just a little bit.
Yeah, I can do that.
Going red.
He's going too much.
Yeah. Let me have a look. To speak now.
Hello. First couple of months.
Yep,
La 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 la.
Perfect. Yep.
Should we wait for the sirens or?
Nah, it's all good. We can't hear those.
Very good. Shout out Irie. So first couple of months working together was a blast. I love your pyramid.
Yep.
Sensational.
Yep. Thank you.
Yeah, I love everything. Actually, very sensational.
Yeah.
But the pyramid's legit, and I think for me personally, the first level was the one that I was almost lacking the most in. Which is like the physiological, which is like probably just hitting it at like a 6 or a 7 out of 10.
Yeah.
And just as soon as like we've been stepping up the game, I've been like feeling more energy. I've been more passionate, more excited, and just more hungry, more driven in day-to-day life to sort of like ascend the pyramid and start attacking up from those high levels.
Yeah, exactly. So I remember we having a bit of a look at there, and it was like, oh yeah, you've got all this other stuff kind of sorted out. Let's sort out this and see how everything else works. So what's kind of been for you in the process after we've been doing those things and focusing on eating, we've been focusing on effort, we've been focusing on recovery, we've been focusing on routine, we've been focusing on like discipline, all those different things, using some biohacks, using a whole different bunch of biohacks and other things to like optimize your brain. What is that now like that you've like implemented those things? How's life on the other side?
It's fantastic.
Walk us through those different things that you've done that we've worked through together, and then give us a little like sort of how much that has helped you.
Yeah, great. So basically what I liked about you and your program, a lot of things, but you start nice and slow and sort of like you make sure things get done before we move on. Yeah. So I came to you and I'm just like, I want to achieve more. Yep. I want to be more grateful. I want to be more joyous and like enjoy my journey more. Yep. And I want to push harder. And I feel like I don't. When I'm by myself, I push medium hard enough to love myself, and then just like go and chill out. Yeah. But then it's like I'm like, I wish I didn't chill out as much back then, or like step off the accelerator, because I never regret pushing through comfort zone and smashing stuff. So I'm like, okay, sweet. What do we do to start? And you're like, we sleep.
Yeah, that's right. Cool. We do some sleeping.
We do some sleeping.
Yeah.
And so, we started slow. We started with things just like, how do you get more sleep? How do you get better, high quality sleeps? Yeah. And then we started to moving through nutrition, moving through working out, moving through mindsets and stuff, which are all phenomenal. Yeah. And then we started to get a little bit more intricate, where we're like, all of a sudden, sitting in front of red lights naked and like humming. Well, if Corey says so. And so it's been a really cool transition for me, and I like doing like one thing at a time, seeing the impact it has, and then just like directing the next step from there. So it's been fantastic.
Cool. What do you think are the 3 biggest things that have had like the best changes for you so far that you've implemented?
3 biggest things would be, number 1 would be accountability from you.
Oh, cool. Thank you. How so? Please go into that. Like, what's the accountability like?
So
I'm after some feedback here. This is a lot like.
What is the accountability like? It's chatting to you once a week. Yeah. And sort of like planning stuff together. Yeah. Makes me more excited to go and like execute on it. It's also got like the Corey tick of approval, so I'm not just like running in the wrong direction. Yeah. So I feel more like certain in the path. Okay. Yep. Because I trust you with it, and so far so good.
Thanks, bro.
So, more certain in the path, and then more excited, I guess, to share it with you. Yeah. I think that there's the biggest things in the accountability. Yep. Awesome. Also, I think I look up to you as well. So it's just like, if I'm just sitting there and I'm just like, I got to work out. Like, Corey would work out. I got to work out now. So that's been great. Yep. Second biggest thing, I would probably say nutrition. Yep. I would describe myself as like a frequent Uber eater. But
semi-frequent.
I'd let it pass because I'm like, I'll get like Thai, which is like chicken and rice and veggies. Yeah. And it's like, it's pretty good. Yeah. But I don't want to feel pretty good. Yeah. I want to feel like phenomenal. Yeah. And so you're like, well, eat phenomenally, do the barramundi, do the healthy oils, do all like the veggies with every meal and everything. And when I do that consistently, it's probably still my weakest thing, but working on it now. I feel phenomenal. So I'd say that's the second biggest thing.
Cool.
And then the third biggest thing is probably not as helpful to other people, but quite personal to me. I don't know, maybe it's helpful to somebody, but I would say understanding like the more internal drives in myself and being slightly confused, because I feel like when you want something and you're so certain on what you want and you go and get it, it's pretty clear, especially when you understand why it is that you want it. But I think for me, I had a lot of confusion around like I don't need to work for money. Eventually I will run out of money, but it's like I could sit back and just like earn a decent amount of money and not really build anything and work out semi-hard and have my Thai meals on Uber Eats. But it's like I don't want to I guess not, I won't put this on yet, but essentially like that's a comfortable lifestyle, and I'm like, yeah, that's something that a lot of people work towards. I should just do that. But like I also realize there's a part of me that's really unfulfilled in that area, and I'm like, oh, do I just have to learn like how to be at peace with not moving so quickly or not growing all the time? Do I have to like do like meditations and stuff to sort of push through that and just be more grateful of the day? Or do I like feed into that desire to push more, to push my comfort zone, to build more things? And I think I was sitting on like the seesaw between it. It's like, oh, I just got to meditate more and get better at enjoying the day. Or it's like, no, you've got, that thing is like a legit thing that will make you more fulfilled in the long term when you push in the short term. And I think for you, just like, oh yeah, you could do either. But the second one I think is more fulfilling, and that's the one that you do in your life. And so that's the one where I'm just like, sick, now I've like decided on it, I'm certain on it, and I understand it, so it just makes me more clear on what I want to do. That's
really, I had two reflections then. One was sort of like to the point that where you want to be is holding higher standards of yourself, and to do that you'd ask yourself the questions, what would Tony Robbins do in the situation? Because where you've got to, like financially, is like very comfortable, obviously, and it's not like every single person around you that you're hanging out with is doing the same stuff. Like we kind of have a group now, obviously, which is elite, and it's a good time, but there's no one else out there. You're like, okay, let's go like and do this. And then the second part to that was, to get to there, you've completed one hero's journey. And then you're sort of, on the fence, you're in the known right now. So then all you had to do was just go back down into the unknown and get on top to another one. So like, whatever that looks like.
Resisting that call to adventure.
You're resisting the call to adventure. And now it's like, okay, well, I've got these resources, I've got this energy, I've got this routine, I've got like this time freedom, I've got this locational freedom and all these other things. How can I use this as best as possible to like make a massive impact, give back as best as possible to other people, learn all of these other different skills and all these things that I have and that I've got, and become like this, like the person that I'm sort of supposed to become, that like internally you want to be like literally the best version of yourself, but times 10. And now let's go out there and crush that, because there's no end to that. I know, right? How exciting is that?
That's great. It's like a free coaching session.
Well,
schedule another podcast.
Schedule it again. But well, essentially that's what it is, and like I think that would be definitely a huge part of intrinsic motivation, obviously, for you to go out there and climb that mountain. So it's sort of like I think I like to put this into like terms that I've heard from a monk talk about. For you, essentially, it's like you've thought you've climbed to the bottom of the mountain by getting all of these skills, only just to realize you've only hit the bottom. Because you look at Tony as a good example. We keep bringing up Tony because like Benji's a huge Tony Robbins fan. He does like all of this analysis of Tony and tries to use all these things. Like he has his own like sort of programs around it. He has this like crazy book list that has like every single one of Tony's book recommendations ever recommended, with every single link, every author, all those. It's just the most amazing thing you've ever seen. And where was I going? So I was saying, yes. So what happens is you got to the bottom of the mountain. Now we just shine the light on the top of the mountain to be like, all right, so that's where you at Tony level is. Let's get there.
It's like there's a cloud halfway up. Like, oh, we're at the top, and the cloud disappears. It's like, oh,
there's heaps more to do here. Because it never ends.
Never ending mountain.
And I think what's really interesting, what we'd like to talk about is probably what I'd like to talk about, because obviously, yes, we do a bunch of health and fitness stuff. Benji got like, firstly, I'm gonna take a step back. What do you think? Because people might be interested in some of the biohacking stuff that you've got. So, what ones have you used, and what do you think of them?
Okay, so top ones that I've used: sound machine, also known as speakers, on my bed. So like surround speakers, subwoofer below the bed.
Yep.
Play 432 hertz.
Yep. Some binaural beats.
Binaural beats with some nature sounds on it.
Yep.
You go to bed and you feel like you're just like floating above it, just like a meter above the bed. Super soothing.
Yeah.
I would also say I love doing. I guess I put them together, like the red light therapy, the Juve, is really nice. It's just a massive red light you shine in your face. I don't know what half of this stuff does, but it's the Corey tick of approval, so I do it. And I guess it feels good in the moment.
Increases the mitochondrial activation in your cells.
Yeah, well, that's
fantastic. Shine it on your balls, man.
That feels great. But I also couple that with journaling. Gratefulness and meditation, journaling with the intention of strengthening the muscle of being my own biggest fan. So I write to myself as I'd like to write to my son, or as I'd like to write to someone who I really wish the best for, and sort of try and strengthen that inner voice.
How does that make you feel?
Great.
Yeah. What's like the feeling there that makes you feel, and does it like increase your energy at all?
It increases the lover part of me, because I feel like I mean, and this is a Tony Robbins thing. Everything I'm trying to learn is like, I just find people who do it really well. Tony Robbins, Corey Boutwell, follow their actual path. And Tony said he, I think I told you this recently, when he ran away from home and he had no one to turn to, he knew he had to turn himself into his own biggest fan if he was going to achieve what he wanted to achieve. Because it's like Benji, who has thoughts that aren't great for him, or Benji, who's his own biggest fan, always supporting, always loving, you know which one's going to go further. It's just logical. So it's like, cool, become that person first. So it feels good. I think I was always pretty good at it, but I think I'm getting even better because I've been journaling 4 months now. It's been great.
Yeah.
Yep. And then the other thing I've got, I don't have a sauna, but I love saunering. I got to get one. Cold plunging.
Chili pad.
I do have a chili pad.
Earthing sheets.
Which is great. I got earthing sheets, which are amazing. All of it's really good.
Chili pad, by the way, guys, is like the reverse of an electric blanket you put on your bed, so it makes it a bit cool. What's like sleep been like for you since you've been using that?
Yeah, good. I think the biggest thing for the chili pad, one, I woke up, and so did my girlfriend, absolutely shivering through the night on the first 2 nights. We're like, Corey says that's good for us. But the best thing for the chili pad for me is it warms you up to wake up as well. So you set it with your alarm. So say you get up at 7 a.m. From 6:30 to 7, it slowly warms to the point where it gets to 7 and you're starting to get a little sweaty and like, I've got to get out of bed. So like it increases the friction of staying in bed as well.
So how's sleep been enjoying for you? Like, have you been enjoying sleep? Now you have the speakers, earthing sheets, chili pad, using the Juve, doing the gratitude before bed, using blue light blocking glasses, taking
that's a big one.
Removing your like screens and stuff sometime before bed. How's that all going?
Great. Fantastic. I sleep very well. I haven't not slept in a long time. To be candid, I've always been a very good sleeper. But it's just been consistently excellent at the moment.
I love that. And he's Benji's got a Whoop, so we're looking on his Whoop, and like just wearing blue light blocking glasses has improved his sleep on average by like 14%.
14%.
Because you can track that on the Whoop. And we're
over the period of like 7 months. So it's not just like one day. It's like 7 months consistently. 14% more efficiency.
And you've been so consistent with that. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's been great.
And also, one thing that I'm super impressed, before I want to get into the next part of the podcast, is that you created like a journal for all the things that we have like done together. Because Benji is super brilliant at building anything online. Like anything. As far as it comes, like, courses, spreadsheets, slides, like anything on there, he makes beautiful. And he used, I'm not sure what it is, like a Keynote, right? Simple. And he made this on his iPad, like this journal for just tracking all of our stuff, and it's brilliant. Can you explain? What's in that journal? Because it's actually so fantastic.
So it's basically Core in a journal. But when we started, we're tracking a lot of stuff, right? So we're tracking habits. I'm doing monthly photos, monthly weigh-ins. There's a lot of stuff I was tracking, including a separate book for journaling and meditation, the stuff we were talking about, gratefuls and stuff like that. And then I had a vision board on the wall in my room. So I'm like, there's like a lot of stuff that we're doing, and I'm just like, how can I consolidate it? So essentially, and we can throw up a preview or whatever to make it easier to attempt describing a photo. We'll just throw it up. But essentially, you can see that it's basically everything in one PDF document made on Keynote, really easy to do. Import it into GoodNotes with an iPad Pro and a pen, so I can write on top of it. And it's just like a book of 380 pages, one for each day, plus some dashboards where I put like weekly photos, monthly photos and stuff. And
the check-offs for everything.
Check off the habits across the months and everything just in one thing. So like we're in Queensland right now. Just take it with me. I journal from here. I cross off my habits from here, and everything's just in one document.
What are some of your like, I would say, like best habits that you've implemented since working with me? Like personalized to you, because obviously some habits aren't good for some people, but some are awesome for you. Which are some of the ones that we've actually like put in, we've installed, and you're crushing them, and you're like, this is the best.
I'm a big fan of cold showers. Cold showers / cold plunges. Which is like builds the will, which is what I'm talking about. It's just like getting up and overcoming yourself, to use your influence of words. Or getting up and just like working the muscle of pushing through resistance. You're in the warm shower and you're like, oh, this is perfect. And you're like, all right, cold time for a minute. But it's just like the overcoming that You're just like, okay, so when I'm working and I'm like, oh, I'm a little bit tired, and you're like, oh, overcome that a little bit. Or when you I don't have to give 100 examples, you get the idea.
It increases the will.
Increases the will. I would say earthing has been big. You introduced me to earthing, which is just standing on earth with no shoes on. So I do that and meditate at the same time. Do a little mobility stretches. It's sort of like a morning routine that I got going, all in one, which is fantastic. I got the red light, which is obviously fantastic. And then consistently working out and consistently eating. And the emphasis on consistently, because that's the part that I lack.
So and consistently journaling. Like you have been nailing that journal too.
Every day for since Jan 1st.
Oh, Jesus.
So it is now April 12th.
You've killed that. Cool. So another thing that I'd like to talk about is all of the different like theories and like sort of energy systems that we use. Is there anything that we've talked about in terms of some of the theories or energy systems that I've mentioned that you've taken on board and now that you use in everyday life, or use in your mind now that you know these theories that influence some of the things that you do, decisions you make, or how you talk or talk to yourself?
I've got plenty. I'll share the first ones that come to mind. Last set, best set. In the gym, Corey's always like, last set, best set. Which is just like finish strong. Which is what I'm trying to work on. I'd say the hormesis stuff that you talked about, which is like the optimal amount of stress to put on your body in order to grow optimally. You don't want to overdo it, you don't want to underdo it. And you also, like you say, when you put that stress on your body, you work your bicep out, you dig the hole, or you like tear the muscle. There's more efficient ways to actually repair the muscle or fill that hole back in by also optimizing what 99% of health coaches don't focus on. And
that happens with everything as well. Like it's not just muscle building, it's like we look at all the stress in your life. Where does it come from? Like we've looked at all your relationship, we look at all your stress, we looked at the impact you want to have, like your purpose, all of those things, all the physiological health stuff. And it's like anything environmental, external, internal, that's a stress, builds a hole, we want to fill it up. Just a little bit more so that we adapt. And then we become stronger and more resilient, which I think's really cool.
Amazing. Agreed.
Because you did one of those relationship exercises. Which one was that one?
Which one's that?
You wrote a letter.
I wrote a letter to my sister.
Yeah,
which is great. Just basically, what is a relationship that you'd like to strengthen? And then write just genuine feelings that you don't normally express because it's not culturally okay to just I love you so much. So I wrote a nice letter to my sister and she loved it. And it was a great exercise.
How'd that go for you? Like, how did you feel after that?
Good. Honest. Honestly, more integrous. I think it definitely was much more impactful for her as well, which is an amazing thing. And I probably should do it again. It's been a bit of time.
Like that. That's really cool. Anything else in terms of those theories and stuff?
I think I've a combination of working with you and also being with an amazing girlfriend.
Yeah.
I've worked on not just being my own biggest fan, but like other people's biggest fans. So like expressing more love and gratitude for the bits that I wouldn't like elect to include in my life. If there was like, here's a poll, do you want this in your life? I'd be like, nah, just leave that out. But it's like almost seeing that as like there to strengthen you. And also I think there, and this is for all people that I interact with, like a lot of the stress that they're going through is it's not voluntary for some reason. I thought that like, because for me, I don't actually get that much stress in my life. I'm very fortunate to not have that much stress. And when other people get stressed and they get scared and they're not their best selves, I'm like, I just pull it together. Like you're fine, stop taking it out on other people. And now I'm just like, oh, it's not a choice. They're actually in that swirl of a mindset, and this is the best that they can do given the situation they've got, which I appreciate you for.
No, I love that. So what do you think about some of the things that we've used with some of the energy wheels? Because we've got like a masculine, feminine energy wheel. We've got like the fitness energy wheel, stillness and musings, that goes all the way up to mental toughness, that goes from effort all the way back down to energizing. Then we've talked about some of the things for mindset in terms of king, warrior, magician, lover. Then we've talked about a whole bunch of things that happen to you consciously and unconsciously. And we've diving like pretty deep into those, so we really understand how your mind works. What are some of the things in there, some of the nuggets or takeaways that you've sort of taken out of those things that you use practically now when we decide all of the little things to put into your routine habits or changing diets, stuff around like that?
I think I have to brush up on a few of those. A bit of homework. The one of those tools that is phenomenal is the King, Warrior, Magician, Lover. Which is essentially just like the well-balanced person, like the elite. And I'm a massive Tony fan. It's like, okay, cool. Tony is like, he's all of those. And
that's a good point. He's got a healthy archetype, archetypical energy.
He does.
With King, Warrior, Magician, and Lover.
He does.
For sure.
And the nice thing about these things is like, someone's really warrior, so they push through things and they charge and stuff, but they're not so magician, so they don't like ask them like, what would it look like if it was easy, or like, how do I go around this obstacle instead of pushing through. But the nice thing that I'm understanding is that you can, I don't know, if you like played The Sims and you have to like put like stats on like what the sim is good at, or like and just like, well, you can actually max all stats out. It's not like one at the detriment to the other. And it's just like, oh, they're all situational. Like at the gym you want the warrior, at work you want the magician, in a relationship you want the lover, and some other, obviously a balance of all of them in certain places. And I really like being like, oh, it's not that I love, because I'm I think very naturally more magician, like work less hard, and try and work smarter. But it's like, well, in the gym that doesn't work. In the gym, like you said, path and burst resistance in the gym is what you need. And
then in business, you know, it can be quite the opposite a lot of the time as well. Yeah,
definitely. So I think that tool's been incredible. So if you're not that familiar with that tool, I recommend checking that one out.
That's really good. So what would be some of the things, like we've talked about that, like that you've taken away yourself personally, which have been like the favorite things that you have taken away or learned about yourself that you now use like all the time?
Favorite tools? Give me some examples.
So one example would be, you know, about knowing the difference between your need for using the warrior energy and being like, I want to do that, I want to use that. We had a fantastic moment when we'd been working on it for quite a while, and we had to check in, and I was talking to you on the phone. And I was talking to you. I was like, man, you sound a little bit different. You're like, dude, I've been super consistent with these things. I've been overcoming all of these different things, and I feel like it's a little bit more developed. And I was like, yo, surely this is showing up in your dreams at the moment. And you were like, oh my god! You want to tell the story of that? That was
I'll finish it for sure. I think one story that also complements this is we met each other like just over 6 months ago now on our phone call, starting to work together. And then you came to Melbourne to visit. In January, which is like 4 months ago, so we haven't known each other that long, but that was the first time I worked out with you in January. I swear, because it's like you're so warrior in the gym and you're just like absolutely crushing sets. And like, I swear my voice dropped like 4 octaves after working out with you the first time. Oh yeah, we smashed the workout. I'm like Jesus, it like, like what did he do? It was such like a guttural like push through those sets, and I'm literally like one just like can barely stand, and the second like I say something like, oh, whose voice is that? but it almost is like unlocking that warrior.
Yeah.
And for that dream you're talking about, you're like, oh, this warrior thing that we've been working on together is gonna be showing up in your dream. I'm like, bro.
Yep, back on.
I was like, bro, last night I literally dreamt Joe Rogan was teaching me how to kickbox. I was like kicking bags together. And for me, Joe Rogan is obviously very, very warrior. Like he pushes through stuff a lot. He's so consistent with like his podcast and stuff.
Yeah,
and
dude, kills it.
Yeah, I look up to him in that area, and it's like, oh, this archetypal, I don't know what that was.
Archetype,
archetype
warrior,
of figure of a warrior was literally teaching me kickboxing. I didn't remember the dream even until you said it. I was actually down here on the beach down here. Yeah. And like, oh, dude, how did you know?
So how we symbolize that as well was obviously symbols in your dreams show up as whatever you interpret. Yep. And I remember when we had the conversation, I was like, well, what does Joe Rogan mean for you? And you were like, he is like the perfect example of a warrior.
Yeah.
And a lot of the time when you're looking at dreams, you just think, okay, so whatever I'm looking at is a part of myself. A lot of the time. Sometimes it's correct, sometimes not.
Yep.
So we were just like, well, that's essentially like Benji's symbol of warrior of himself is now like accepting and teaching himself how to crush all these things. Yeah. And then you've been crushing it.
Oh, thanks, bro.
Yeah.
I got another recurring dream.
Okay. Do you really?
Yeah, I do.
That I haven't heard about?
I think I've briefly mentioned to you.
Okay.
Yeah, I did.
Okay.
But it's going to sound really boring to anybody because there's no specifics to it, but it's a general theme that follows.
Yep.
And I'm trying to get to the bottom of it. It's essentially every dream I've had for like the last 1.5 months has been a massive game.
Okay.
And it's like either like we're flying planes and like dropping things on like targets or stuff, or we're like in shopping malls with like paintball guns and shit and stuff. It's all very light-hearted, fun games, but it's always like a massive game where there's always like more than 30 or 40 players working as teams or working as individuals every single night.
Okay.
Every single night.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
What is that? Well, what do they mean to you? What are those symbols? Like, what does the game thing mean to you? Because it looks like you're looking at targets firstly.
Yeah.
And you're somehow getting to targets.
Yeah.
And ticking them off.
Honestly, it's pretty. This one stumps me pretty big. I don't know the context of the game, like that recurring context that everything is a big 30-player game.
Okay.
I got no idea what that means.
Well, what is a game to you in real life? What do you?
Fun. I would say that a game is just like, I would say life is essentially a massive game.
Yeah.
It also, like most of my strategy games, also like something that you have to think for. So I think it's a avenue to like grow, or a potential thing that helps you grow as well.
Yeah.
But I would honestly just use as an analogy for, I guess, life, or I could say as business.
Yeah. And in your games, are you hitting targets? Are you winning?
Yeah, well, I don't think I'm ever winning.
Yeah. You're playing the game.
I don't think it ever comes to an end, but I'm always confident in myself.
Yeah.
And I know I can do better, or like than the people around me. Like I'm always confident in that.
Okay, so what are you confident in real life when it comes to life?
Business.
Yep.
Working with Corey Boutwell. Sign up below. Yeah, maybe because I'm starting the 15-week challenge with you. Yeah. Which is basically 15 weeks of 3 things. 2 of them are eating 3,200 calories of your recipes and working out super hard at the gym. Yeah. Today's day 1. We smashed legs. I've been snapping all day afterwards. I'm pretty confident in that, and I'm excited about that. So maybe it's a lead up to that. And honestly, it's a similar time frame, isn't it? We planned that about a month ago. Yeah, we did. Yeah. Yeah. Could be that. Yeah, and there's also some business things that you want to crush during this 15-week block as well. Definitely. What are those? Definitely. So it's more, so I do like business stuff, and then I do passion stuff, which is just like me learning about Tony Robbin. And so the reading list you mentioned earlier, 200 books and resources that Tony Robbins has either written or publicly recommended. So I call it like like the atoms of Tony, or like the footsteps of Tony. And it's just like, these are the things that gave him the skills and the mindsets and the knowledge and the network and everything that he is there. And it's like, I love taking advice from people I want to be like. Don't want to be exactly like him, but if I could be like anyone as a starting point, fantastic.
Be a great starting point.
Great starting point. I'd be humbled. So I'm like, cool, what did he do to get there? And it's these 200 things. So I'm making my way through. I'm guessing it's going to take about 2 years, but I'm making my way through resource by resource, book by book, one by one, until I finish him. And I'm documenting that journey. So trying to build a little community of cool people like yourself who'd be interested in that. Publish a video a week on each resource, publish a little email a week on each resource. And honestly, the biggest thing is helping me learn it better. So when I teach it, it helps me learn it better, but also grows that little community.
How's the quality of your life now that this is implemented into your life and you're starting this journey? Because just then as you were talking, you got super excited. And you got super hyped. So what's like the quality of your life like now that that's kind of in place?
Great. Really good. Really good.
Why?
I would say it comes down to feeling confident in the path that I'm on. But also having a path that I feel has a purpose. Which is to get me where I want to go, and then eventually share it and give back to others, which is a little cliche, but I do feel like that is ultimately going to be more fulfilling than starting another business for cash.
So why is that? So you obviously started a whole bunch of businesses for cash, and then you started stepping away, and I stepped in like coaching you when you were all like no to cash and yes to passion. So it's kind of funny that we linked up at that time. Because obviously we worked through a lot of those things. So what was the motivation? Like, can you just explain that journey for us?
I will. I'll speak to myself 4 years ago, who was the cash guy. And I would tell him what I've learned in order to get there, because this is, I don't actually wish this, but this is the information that's changed in my head, which changes my actions. And so I've been in business since I was 14. Started selling stuff on eBay with my little brother. We had a great time. Shout out Tristan. And now I'm 29. So for 15 years I've been doing e-commerce, and I've been doing online business. So I've always seems to be ahead of the curve in terms of learning that stuff. I'm quite passionate about that stuff, but I seem to have got in my head that like the coolest person is the person who like makes the most money in that stuff. Or at least the smartest person, and the person that gets all the respect and stuff, and in reality, no one really cares. But also in reality is when you chase something because it's the most lucrative thing right now. It's not sustainable because you're chasing something that you're not going to be consistent in because you don't enjoy it. And so I've done that a lot. And everything that I started has essentially then fallen behind me as I got bored and was on to the next shiny thing. And so I'm like, okay, well, what's the underlying factor here? It's like, well, I'm passionate about creating stuff. That's what gets me into it. And I like earning money, and like I was saying in the dream, it's like mastering the game of money or businesses or whatever it is that I learn. But it's not, the things that I've chosen are not the things that I'm just like wake up excited for. And so what I've learned is like, well, the people who go the furthest, people who can do this for 50 years, pick stuff they're actually passionate about. And they also center it around themselves, so if their passions change, they can sort of like swing the brand. So that's where I'm starting with Tony, and like spending 2 to 5 to 10 years or however long in that game until I'm like satisfied with how I am. And then it's like, cool, what's Paul Check doing? How do I spend like 10 years breaking down Paul Check? But being able to like swing the brand with passion, because that's the only thing, and that the word there is sustainability. Because you can make a lot of money really fast and then nothing. And then no purpose and no drive and nothing. Or like you can build a brand that you're passionate about slowly, and that's growing forever.
So where did that calling come from?
Survivor.
Cool.
Survivor is a good one. I would say, well, I guess the lesson came from Survivor. So had a successful business doing a lot of revenue a month, hundreds of thousands of dollars a month, for about 8 months. went on Survivor for 4 months, came back, business wasn't doing so good because I took 4 months off.
Yep.
Not a good recipe for a business. And then didn't want to do it again because I'd done it once. Once again, it wasn't something I was passionate about. And I'm like, well, I don't want to try and jumpstart that business.
Yeah.
But then I looked at, I also sell on Udemy, which is like a course selling platform who do marketing for you. Those courses were making more money than ever.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, well, that's more sustainable because, well, it doesn't matter why it's more sustainable, but because it's more sustainable, I don't have to go back and redo old things and like talk about stuff that I don't want to talk about because it's sustainable. And so I'm like, cool, well, the next business I want to start, I want to make it sustainable. And I'd say the second aspect of a sustainable business is serving outside yourself. And I'm still only on like the cusp of this, and I don't feel fully authentic when I'm like, this is for other people, because I do think you have to fill up your own cup first.
Yeah, definitely.
But Tony had a good quote, I think that originally came from the Dalai Lama, that we've talked about, and I know you're a big believer in, is life supports what supports more of life.
Oh yeah, I love that.
And the more life you support, the more you actually get supported. So I think you've said before, like, you raise a family, you support your kids, you support your wife, and then they're going to support you back because you're supporting that. Or if you support a town and you do something really big for a town, you're going to have a whole town support you back because you are supporting them. And it's just this positive feedback loop.
Yeah, I love that. That makes sense to me, like my hierarchy a lot of the time, because same thing. If you're healthy and energetic, you have this unlimited energy, you're super self-confident, you're really good at dealing with stress, you have finance, and you know your career and your purpose, then you can make some impact.
Right.
And the more impact you're going to have, the more you're going to be able to overcome yourself and really flourish and thrive and prosper.
Yeah.
Which is that goal.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So I really like that.
Yeah, I love it too.
Yeah.
So I feel like it's almost looking out for other people in a selfish way, but then also not in a selfish way.
Well, it's energy times two. It's that same theory that we have, you know, it's love and work, love over work together, times by energy, times by two, meaning you have, you know, if you had your own cup of energy, it's overflowing enough to fill up a second, so that you can deal, because the energy for one person is so much, like it's so much that if you had energy for two people, you essentially take over the world, right? Plus aesthetics, because if you want to look good as hell, bro. Well, that helps. Because of Instagram. I find for men, we've always had the ideal of looking at superheroes. We've always looked at superheroes. We've always looked at, you know, and the James Bond, the Superman, the Batman, the Goku, all these big, like, you know, very masculine dudes who look really good, who take care of themselves, who dress well. It's not just, you know, getting big muscles. It's just being fit and healthy. And being, you know, it's just having strength. You know what I mean? It's strength to protect your family, strength to fight for what you love, strength to stick to something for a long time, strength to, you know, crush it. And it all just comes holistically. And you can see it in someone when they have that image. So that's why I've put that into that, you know, little formula there. So, you know, we have something to follow and something to aim for and something to shoot towards, so we can progress.
It also works very well with the spiral dynamics, which is like, as you ascend the spiral dynamics colors, it literally goes from taking care of yourself, taking care of your tribe, taking care of yourself again, taking care of your town. And it goes back forth until you ascend to the top, until you're taking care of yourself and the world. Or the universe, I guess. Be one with the universe.
Exactly.
Nowhere near there yet, but we'll get there.
We're
coming, turquoise.
We'll take a whole bunch. Take a whole bunch of mushrooms and get there really quick. We did it. We did it right now. So, yeah, we were at that stage of your journey where you're working towards passion, and I'd just like to know how I've helped you achieve that and the energy to go out and crush it.
Yeah, I would say the energy to go out and crush it's a simple one. Eating really well consistently, working out, overcoming yourself, feeling fulfilled, having better relationships in life, and I'm listing off just like life-changing things in a list. Each one individually is literally life-changing. It gives you more energy.
Do you have any specific examples of things that we've done?
Having a better relationship with people in general. Understanding how to support these people. Understanding their needs, even like the challenge stuff. For a specific example is like when you embark on a challenge, going to your family, going to your girlfriend, going to your friends and being like, I'm going on a challenge. it's a 15-week challenge and I'd love your support.
Yeah.
And like you said, instead of them being like, oh, he's gone to the gym again and I don't know where he is, he's not around anymore or whatever, he's like, oh, he's doing his thing that he said he was doing, and we're a part of it because we're there to support him.
Yeah.
And instead of them resenting you for, I guess, spending less time or something like that, they're like your number one in fans, which I think was amazing. Yeah, and there's so many different ways we've been getting more and more energy, from literally sleeping more to like smashing ginseng in the morning. And in terms of, what was the second part of that question?
It was more just, essentially how have I helped you?
Yep.
And support you in terms of your goal for moving from chasing the cash.
Yep.
To purpose and passion.
To purpose and passion.
Yeah. And how do you feel now?
Yep.
Like, do you feel more committed to your purpose and passion?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's like, how so?
I feel clearer in the path. I think we discussed it and got a lot of clarity around it.
Yeah.
I feel more consistent because I'm doing smaller bits at a time. I'm not locking myself in a room and just being like 12 hours of making this happen, but it's just like an hour and a half. And making it consistent, which you do greatly in the morning when I wake up and you're like listening to Japanese music in a kimono and you're like
in a kimono.
Studying all the I don't lie, bro. And you got just like all these potions around you and stuff, and it's like 4 a.m. And I'm like, what are you doing? You're like, just working on myself. But having that ritual and that routine, I think has been very helpful for me. Yeah.
What are some of the challenges that you've overcome working with me that I've said we need to do this to strengthen whatever it is mindset by either like reading books or learning things about your brain, learning about how the chemicals and hormones work in your body?
Yep.
Is there anything around there that you like sort of triggers when I mention those that you're like, oh, we did that and that was good?
Yeah. I would say similar to how I approach Tony, I'm just like, what are the books that Tony recommends? You've recommended so many resources.
Yeah.
Paul Chek being a massive one.
Yeah.
And then just like reading Paul Chek's book and just being like falling off my seat. What is this world that I'd never come across without you? Or I'd come across and I think it's terrible because there's no one with results that are following it. So I like to follow results.
Yeah.
That's a massive one.
You also crushed Crime and Punishment. You read that whole damn book.
Crushed is a very generous description of how I approached that book.
You clung onto the edge.
I slipping around that book until I finished it, and I was like, oh, I miss it so much. I was pointing out that like a page a day, and I'm like...
So one of the things I worked on with Benji was I was like, all right, well, in terms of these things that you want to crush these really hard books, you want to learn all of these different things, let's do a workout for your mind, not just your body. And there's a really powerful and strong book that I read that was extremely hard because I like reading old school philosophy. Any of my listeners who aren't listening for the first time know that I like to read a lot of Friedrich Nietzsche, Fyodor Dostoevsky, and like these old books that like Jordan Peterson recommends. Like Jordan Peterson has a book out, but I'm like, I want to read all of the ones that he recommended, like these old school ones, to get that power, and then read his so that it really makes sense. Because I really am attracted to and believe in all the dark side of things. So one of the things is like, Benji, if you read this book, I'm certain, like quite certain, that the next couple of books that you read afterwards will be super easy, and you'll consume them really well, because this is a difficult book to read. And like, we pushed through, and it was constantly like, oh dude, like I don't know if I can do this book, man. Like, this is hard. And then we talk about all the things in there as far as like for life goals, and there's all these awesome lessons that the Crime and Punishment teaches. So what would be probably the three main skills or benefits that you got from reading a book like that?
So the Crime and Punishment book, also I feel like not as hard as Gene Genius.
Yeah, because it's boring.
Gene Genius, for some reason I can't get through. We'll get it. Crime and Punishment was the second hardest book behind that. I would say the best thing out of Crime and Punishment, similar to like discovering Paul Chek and being mind blown, is discovering it under your guidance.
Yeah.
And reading through it with like you explaining why people in the book are making dumb decisions.
Yeah.
It's sort of like what I was talking about. The people are doing the best they can with the resources and the environment that they've got. Watching, I don't know if it's spoilers or anything, but watching people kill each other in the book out of desperation, and then and being revitalized through unconditional love and nurturing.
Yeah.
It's just like, it makes so much sense having you explain that, and just like the example we give is like, oh, Raskolnikov, he didn't work out in the morning, he didn't fast for a day, and obviously he's not in a good mindset.
Yeah.
But actually hearing you say just like, well, he doesn't have the energizing habits to actually bring himself out of this, doesn't have the support system, this and that, it makes me be like, well, I guess we'd all be like that in that situation, right?
Yeah.
If we didn't have our Corys.
Yeah, no, it makes a lot of sense. So that's one thing as well that I think with like entrepreneurs and high performers like yourself, don't take advantage of as much, because they're extremely passionate, right? You just want to learn and grow as best as possible. You want to read and consume more of these good things and apply it and learn it. And like in 2020 plus 2021, it's like we are so addicted to immediate gratification, right? We're so addicted to it. We have inputs coming in like crazy, just all over us. And, you know, when you can get really clear on a book that has an extremely good message, it's not even a book, it's just a lesson, like whatever you're doing, like even like you can just take going to the gym as a lesson, but you can also take like, I don't know, whatever, like all the crazy stuff that we do into a lesson. But the beautiful thing about like having a book that you pick to extract everything out of and apply and put on is that it'll sink, and you'll use it and you'll think about it all the time. It'll stick for you forever because you're taking your time with it. You're talking about it, you're discussing it, and you're thinking of it. Because there's people out there that like smash books a day. They, listen, they'll get a book done a day, listen to this many podcasts, they'll read this much stuff, and they're just absolutely crushing it. But it's like, okay, well, how much of that, like, yes, you're taking the nuggets, but there are some things out there that are so impactful that really take some nurturing to actually take in. So we did that with like Crime and Punishment. And we talk about it all the time. Like we always use it.
Yeah.
And it's such like a perfect example, because it was like a recommendation for Benji, because what we're using was, at the time, I would say like you're a little bit insensitive to people who were, you know, experienced less energy, and we couldn't understand like why where you were. And also, let's never do those things so that we can maintain peak energy and high performance. So let's read about someone who has done the complete opposite, and let's never make any of the decisions they do mentally or physically, so that we're constantly staying at the top. And that makes the top of ourselves, because it makes sense to me, because, you know, the way our brains work essentially is that our brains are so ridiculously powerful, and everything that we do just makes our brains less powerful like throughout a day. And when we feel amazing, all it is like your brain's just working normally now. It's literally just working normal.
That's so true.
And then also, how did you feel about like reading something difficult, and like after the book, like post reading it, how did you like feel about
it? Was great. Reading the book after that was like watching a TikTok.
That's such a good way of putting it.
I read something after and I'm like, what a dumb book. But also, I feel like my gauge was off. I'm like,
oh man,
I don't know if it was a dumb book. I just don't know if it was just like, it's like reading like a cartoon, like a comic strip sort of thing. I'm like, should I be reading this stuff or not? It was actually it was a little bit confusing.
And was that book, I just want to actually asking like some serious feedback right now, was like, do you think that book was like a strong, like a good recommendation for you at the time that we recommended it?
Crime and Punishment.
Yeah,
for sure.
Okay.
It's perfect.
Alright, cool. Yeah, love that. Well, last question, because we've got a few minutes. I just want to know, firstly, huge thank you for you shouting out.
Nice.
Like, bro, I love working with you. It's like, it's literally like the best thing ever. Like, it's what I do with a lot of one-on-one clients. We get to know each other like extremely well. We always just become like best friends. It's great. And it is. It's really incredible. And like, I really look up to you as well. Nice. And I wouldn't change that like for the world. Nice. And seeing you progress is just like, it fills my cup so much.
Thanks.
So how do you think as well, like what has been the transformation? Like, how are you different from like working with me? And then we'll just finish up after that.
Well, I gotta repay the favor, man, because literally I was at a point probably like 4 months ago. I'm like, oh god, I'm so excited I found Corey, like feeling on the path, feeling amazing, look up to you, admire you, you're an incredible leader, which is like just someone who cares really strongly about people. And just like you go away and you're like, oh, how can I help Benji more? And you'll send me a text, it's like, dude, just thought of something. And it'll be like 2:30 a.m. or
something.
Not really.
It'd be more like 5:30 a.m.
5:30, yeah, not really, but it'd just be some
up.
random time. Like that's nice that you're thinking about that. But I think you're such an elite coach. But there was this point in time where I was like, I really hope Tony and Corey, nothing happens to them because I need them right now. Stay safe, Corey. Stay safe, bro. Don't take any risks. I'll see you next week.
Don't take any risks.
Stay away from danger.
Don't do anything dangerous.
But I legit mean that. And I don't say that to many people, so
Thank you, bro.
I appreciate you.
Yeah.
In terms of how I'm different, I think for me personally, I'm trying to channel that warrior energy, trying to be able to push through that path of most resistance, have those cold showers, build that willpower, which is applicable in every single environment.
Only ejaculate once a week.
Once a year, boy.
Once a year.
And do all these little things just to transform myself into someone who feels more fulfilled, more energy. I feel like I got more to give, more loving, more caring. There's not many better testimonials I feel like I can give to someone. So
that's cool.
Big thank you to you.
Yeah. What's the value you hold on to that?
1 million.
1 million. Damn it. No, that's not like personally. What's like the value that you hold on to that?
In what metric?
Like how do you value it?
Sacredly.
Cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, guys, if you want to reach out to Benji to ask any questions, you're going to have to message me because he is not on anything.
Nowhere to be found.
He is super MIA. But if you'd like to reach out or talk about anything that we've discussed, please just send me a message on Instagram. Other than that, bro, thank you so much for jumping on. Well, this is a long time coming. We've been trying to get this done the whole weekend.
Yeah.
And huge shout out to you. Love working with you, bro. Like so much appreciation. And like I said, if anyone has any questions, reach out.
Hell yeah. I appreciate you, man.
All right, cool. And also, if you want to check out Benji, where can, because you have some YouTube channels.
Yeah.
Where can people find some of your, elite content that you have for that you'd like to share?
If you want to follow the Tony Robbins journey, go to benji.blog.
Okay.
benji.blog. That's it.
Benji.blog, and that's it.
Don't put any .com or anything afterwards.
That's cool. I can't believe you got that URL.
Yeah, cool, right?
Yeah,
super
that's
cool.
sick. Such
Also,
a little hack.
what is it?
Body, mind, and business, baby.
Body, mind, and business. I own that, but don't go there. There's nothing there yet.
Is the key. All right, guys. Well, enjoy the rest of your day. I hope you like listening to this. Big flex for you, and tune in for the next one. Catch us.
Nice, bro.